Hello, everybody. Vitaly Giman here again. We want to talk today again on the topic of agile beyond software, and it's going to be very exciting. So stay tuned. I have again Suzanne Daigle here from New Focus Strategic Group, and Suzanne, we're going to dig straight into it. Tell us more about agile beyond software.
Okay, so picking up from us saying that the traditional way of operating at Agile was called waterfall, and which is very similar to our traditional management today. I think at the very core and of everything that's been happening in Agile, I feel like in 2001, when these 17 individuals got together and created the Agile Manifesto, it was extremely important to describe the why of what they wanted to do to improve the delivery of software to their clients. And if you look on the left, the Agile Manifesto conveys something extremely important. It focuses on the people, on the humanistic side that you were talking about at the beginning, really optimizing potential of people. We can have great processes, great tools, but if we don't have people on our side, including customers, it doesn't work. So this is the Agile Manifesto. So what does it say? It talks about individuals and interactions are more important over processes and tools. It does not mean that we do not use processes and tools, but when we put the emphasis and where it's important in everything that we do, individuals and interactions matter. Working product. How often do we find ourselves that we get, oh, we've developed all this documentation and we've got all these plans to deliver something, but is it the working product that the clients wanted? And that's where the emphasis is. Doesn't mean we don't have documentation, but if we're looking at our efforts, we've got our eye on the end result to make sure that it works and it's what's needed and was able to evolve with those needs. Customer collaboration. Oftentimes we will start working with a client and then we'll develop a contract, and that's, going to be what is going to guide our relationship. Well, it has to be more than that. Has to be integrated with how we're communicating on a regular basis, that we have our check-in points. Customer collaboration on the left. Responding to change versus following a plan. How often do we have these long-term plans and people don't want to be bothered with these other changes that are happening because we have to meet this plan? Mm-hmm. So I honor this manifesto, and it's because of this foundational piece, I believe, that around the world now, Agile and Scrum, these Agile communities have just multiplied in the world over these past 15 to almost 18 years now. It's really amazing. And if we did not have those principles to underpin it, wait a sec, here we'll go to the next slide. A year later, they developed the principles of Agile software. And in the principles, when you start looking at each, they are a representation of not only the manifesto, but they also guided a host of different practices and approaches that are part and parcel of the Agile way of working. And typically, Vitaly, when I'm working with clients in this trailblazing field of saying, hey, how can we apply this work to our current management outside of software?
Sure. I mean, it's human resource management, leadership, strategic development, marketing. I mean, this is all the same process, right? In some way.
Yes. And each of these 12 principles has something really important to convey. We might say some of them are really more directly applied to Agile, but I will typically have a team assign 3 of these principles and ask them to discuss it together and discover what they believe the intent was, where they see them similarities with intent that would work in our organizational, traditional, in our management that we do, and then to have fun with this and repurpose some of the principles or the language and change some of the words so that it would apply to traditional management, and then we present it to the group. But when I'm doing training like this, the more we can get involved as opposed to just receiving, and that we can start picturing how it would fit with what we're doing, I think the better the learning and the greater, progress that we're making. Now, when we're talking about Agile, and I'll just go quickly with this, beyond software, Agile has a lot of different components in it. For my purposes, in terms of applying it, outside of software, it's really on Scrum and Kanban. And we'll be able to talk a little bit more about that afterwards. But it is a very broad umbrella. And anyway, I really think that Scrum and Kanban and the Agile framework in itself is what is of huge value to us. So
Now,
yeah.
you told me about some tools. Let's just quickly look at the tools that you have that you believe that.
Okay. Before we get to the tools, I always like to look at this as a head and heart. Mm-hmm. On the left-hand side, you can see the Scrum framework and Kanban, and you can see that the goals of these are address things like velocity, eliminate waste, efficiency, productivity, continuous improvement, add value. All of those terms are things that we want as good practices and outcomes and goals. In our rational mind, we want to meet our objectives and our goals. And that happens very much in spades with Agile. On the right-hand side, it's how do we do that? Again, with this focus on people before process, it's like self-organizing, collaboration, invitation, transparency, new habits of work, and let's practice it. Like, we do not adopt our new ways of working overnight. So their approaches and frameworks have been set and evolved over time to help us become self-organized, to help us tap into individual potential and team potential and give a voice to everyone. Decision-making, so people closest to the work are making the decisions on the important stuff.
Great. Wow. I mean, I want to talk more and more. So I think we'll stop here, and then in the next session we'll do one more. Well, because this is exciting, we'll do one more. We'll look at very specifically the kind of tools and sort of that we can actually apply. But this is really good stuff. Thank you so much. This is getting me excited.
Thank you, Vitaly. I mean, there's a practical and a pragmatic. The pragmatism in this is really, really great. We want to do work boots on the ground, not theory, just theory. We want to put it to action, and this is what excites me.
Yeah, it's very practical. Thank you, Suzanne. We'll look forward to having you again.
Thank you.